Hey, I don't usually do videos, but I thought I would want to make a video showing how I'm going to make this dresser. It's my very first Wood Whisperer Guild project. This weekend I went and bought all the wood. So the total wood purchase was around $450. I was super excited about this piece of walnut. This is going to be the top. So the top of the dresser is 18 inches wide. And that will be very nice for the top to only have one joint down the middle. And then the other big find I had was this piece of cherry, but it's just wide enough to get all the drawer fronts out of it in one solid piece. The outer frame is going to be walnut, and then the drawer fronts and the side panels will be cherry. The side panels are cherry plywood. I've got that behind here. There's some poplar in front here that's going to be used inside, and then there's a whole bunch of poplar, like 24 board feet, something like that, of poplar that'll be used inside. But I'm going to try to take you along with me and show you what I'm doing to make this project. So I got all the mortises cut in here, a few of them, and then I've got a slot cut all the way down here to accept the panels, the plywood panels that are going to fit on the sides and the back. And now what I'm doing is making room for the, making some mortises for these supports that go along the side to hold the drawers. So to do that, I have a little jig built here, and I'm using my router with a guide bearing at the top to follow along the edges of the guide and cut out the mortise. And I have lots of them to cut. You can see we have a perfect mortise there. Hopefully that will all line up when we put the drawer supports in. So all these mortises that I cut are rounded, which means that I can't put the square tenons into them. So I had to take them and round off each corner, and then because mine weren't perfect, I had to kind of finesse them a little bit. But the good news is I think everything fits. So I'm going to try to assemble it all. If I have a tenon coming in here and a tenon coming in here, they can't both be full tenons because they would collide in the middle. So these are called haunched tenons. So for example, this one here is on the bottom, it goes all the way in, and then this one here on the top goes all the way in. So they kind of cross over each other inside the leg. All right, so this is it. This is the case, basic case. I finally got it done. There is a groove along the inside, everywhere where the plywood panels will fit in. There's a center divider that goes back here. So it needs to have the mortise and tenon cut into that. And then it needs to have these slots cut in at the perfect height as well. All right, this is a big milestone. I've got all of the walnut on the outside done, and I cut the panels to fit, and now I have all of these dados set and rabbets set in the right spot. So the next step is going to be building poplar to go inside, and that's what'll hold the drawers, because these sides are not solid wood, so we got to build some supports for the drawers. Alright, so I've been working on getting all these supports in here. They're all cut and notched and fit in the right spot. Just want to show you a cool trick that I learned from the video. But how do you measure inside this to inside the other one? Take two pieces, put them in there, like that, one on each side, and then grab some tape and wrap the tape around. And now you have a great measurement. I've been checking to make sure that the spacing is pretty close between them so I don't end up with gaps, and it's not perfect, but it's the best I can do right now. So to build these frame supports, to build a piece like this, it's got a little tenon on each side, and then there will be a slot in here, and it'll go in. So I can test fit them like this. And so now I'll cut the slots in the long pieces, take everything out, glue it together, and then put them back in. There it is. Hopefully I didn't forget anything, because it's not coming apart now. This is the completed case. All of the drawer supports are in. all of the dividers are in, and everything is glued together. I even got this sliding dovetail in here. Next step is to make a whole bunch of drawers. There's no hardware on these drawers. Instead, there's a U-shaped runner here on the bottom that fits over this runner right here. And it took a lot of finessing, but the drawer fits now. Today's challenge is putting this giant piece of walnut on top of the dresser. Added water to the top of this and to all the surfaces, and then sanded them back, and I did it again to pop the grain. This is it. It's done. Check it out. I think from start to finish of actual building, this took me about 10 months. There was plenty of gaps in the middle, and I thought about it a lot ahead of time. So I think call it a year, that's pretty safe. I think one of the reasons that there were those big gaps in the middle is that every step of this process seems like it required something new to learn. And when I had those new things to learn, I'd be so nervous about screwing up not just the wood that I had bought, but all of the work that I had done ahead of time. I've heard it said that the best woodworkers are just the ones who learn how to cover their mistakes the best. And I'm sure you see things wrong with this when you look at it. I guarantee you I see a lot more. But when I look back at this whole project, I'm very proud of it. It was a big accomplishment for me, and I'm glad I did it. That being said, I am not doing anything like this next, or for a long time. If there's something you've been thinking about doing for a long time, I encourage you to just get out there and get going. Because while this was a huge project for me and it took me a long time, it really was just one step at a time. And sometimes the hardest part is just taking that first step.